Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, Jake Fallon. Thanks for listening to the Slippery Slope. So, I wanted to talk about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And the thing is, there's so much analysis on it already. I thought, what am I really going to add here? And the more you look at the issues, the issues that they've had with security, the more you sit there going, wondering why. How did they allow this to happen? How did someone who was not just that he's running, he's the front runner, main contender to become the next US president. The fact that he was already president and he's such a well-known personality, such a famous personality, and you sit there going, with all the security that's generally around these kinds of people, how did this person, how did he get, how was he allowed the ability to climb up this building and shimmy along the roof, loaded up with a rifle, loaded up with weapon and ammunition, and it's only 135 meters away. It just, I'm reading all the analysis, listening to all the analysis, going, what is going on here? And then, so the more I thought of it, I thought, what am I? What can I say? I think it's very strange, but I can't really give any more analysis to what everyone else is already giving anyway. I think it's strange. I think there's more to the story. It seems hard to believe that the Secret Service, which should be the pinnacle of security globally, has had a major malfunction. Someone has dropped the ball, to say the least. Okay, dropped the ball, and that's probably putting it lightly, putting it politely. There have been failures, possibly systemic failures, due to, and there's been a lot of talk also about DEI and what effect that has had on this security outcome, on this. But there's a couple of things that I thought this has really made me think of. The first thing I thought was the gentleman that got killed. There was a man that got killed, and you're reading about his person, and all reports are that he dived across to protect his family in case they were going to get hit. And he was struck in the head and he was killed. And, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about the way Donald Trump kind of forced himself out and, threw his fist in the air while he's still bleeding, while he's still got that, you got that adrenaline rush, but he still had that thought, no, no, I want to show people that I'm okay and be defiant, say we're gonna fight. And I was thinking about that, and this gentleman who's been struck and killed because he was trying to save, he wanted to defend, protect his family. And I thought about that saying, I believe it's G. Michael Hopf, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. This is where we're at. This is where America's at. This is where the West is at. Okay, I'm not just going to put this in America. This is where Western society is at. We've got weak men. We don't have men. We've got a society that is full of men who would not jump across and try and save their family. We've got far too many people, far too many men out there who get insulted because you don't know or you won't use their pronouns. That's where we are in society. That's where we're at. On the weekend, the importance of that weekend, what happened on the weekend was we're literally only 2.5 centimeters around, that's what it is roughly, or around that 2 centimeters between your ear and your brain. Just the slight turn of the head is what prevented America diving into civil war virtually, I believe. And the other thing that I realized is Donald Trump was shot and his ear was caught with this bullet. And isn't it noticeable that the Republican Party, or people, what the Democrats, what the left would say is the far right. Isn't it noticeable that the far right haven't started rioting? They haven't started burning down buildings. They didn't start destroying shops and attacking people. Because please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm in Australia. I don't know, but from what I've seen over the last couple of years, when something happens that the left, the far left, they supposedly believe in, or they think, well, this is something wrong, they won't go out and just protest and voice their opinions. They destroy. They destroy. They burn down city blocks. They destroy private property. They smash things up and steal things and then turn around and say, well, this is our right. Well, we're doing this because of George, what was the name? Stupid Floyd. You know, we're doing this because of this reason. So this justifies our reasoning to absolutely smash and trash everything, bring down, bring down the patriarchy. And this gives us the right. But noticeably, the far right haven't done that. The man who they're all, I assume, hoping becomes the next president, was 2 centimeters away from being killed. And I believe, and I think this is, from what I can hear, this is what a lot of people in the media are saying. They're putting it down to divine providence. That's what I think it was. Firstly, the man that died, that kind of man, he would not have wanted to live if someone in his family, say, I don't know if it was one of his children was there with him or his wife, the fact that he dived down to protect them and then he was killed. If he had been standing there and one of them was killed instead, there was no way someone like that would think, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't dive down." He would be gutted because he would be thinking, I think he would be thinking, I had the opportunity. I should have dived down. I should have protected them. I should have taken the bullet. I should have died to protect my wife, my family, whoever. That's the kind of man he seems like he would have been, because he dived down and protected his family. And this is what I'm saying, that this is the difference between these who are supposedly the far right, because there's a lot of Christians now, they've all lumped into this, oh, they're the far right, they're the bad people, and the far left. The difference is the far right, for want of a better expression term, they're not out rioting, they're not out destroying, they're not out burning down the buildings. They're out, a lot of them, and I'm hearing it on the media, are thanking God, saying this is divine providence. Donald Trump wasn't killed. And they're looking ahead, looking towards the future. Now, I just wanted to, like I said, I didn't want to get into too much of the analysis of the actual scene and some of the things that just don't seem to add up. I learned this. We'd done some training for when the Commonwealth Games were here, and this is another thing I think is very strange about what happened on the weekend as well. But it's different, I suppose. But so when we were doing training for the Commonwealth Games, and we were learning, obviously, because I was already doing surveillance, and you do counterterrorism and counter surveillance, and but learning how to scan a crowd of people, and training that had come out of actually what had happened with the Boston Marathon bombing. So one thing that they realized when they went back through footage for the bombing was that everyone was there. I'll try and cut it down. Everyone was there looking at the bombing. Sorry, at the marathon. Everyone was there looking at the marathon, trying to check out what's happening. Everyone's cheering on, and everyone's kind of had that same intent with what they were doing. They're all there to cheer, to watch this great race. And when they went back through the footage, they could see that the two guys who, the two perpetrators, they weren't. They were dressed differently. They had the backpacks on, and they weren't scanning. They weren't watching the race. They had their backs turned, and they were looking at the crowd. And then they came up with this play that you've got to look at the baseline of the crowd. When you're looking through big crowds, you need to get what the baseline of that crowd is. Even if the crowd is all very boisterous, and the theme, the feel of the crowd is very up tempo, you still need to be able to scan the crowd and say, okay, if this is my baseline, say this is my, I'll put the baseline at on an energy level. I'll put that at about a 7, because everyone's sitting there roughly around that. They might be a little bit lower, might be a bit higher, but everyone's kind of sitting around that mark, around that 7. Everyone's kind of dressed similarly. Everyone's kind of doing the same kind of thing, because they're all here for this, for a similar event. They're all going out. Like when you're going out into the main CBD area in a big city, during late night, and you can see, oh yeah, everyone's kind of got the same thing in mind. Everyone might be heading home, so everyone's kind of got their heads down, just trudging on home. And you can put the baseline at here and think, oh yeah, this is what the baseline is for this area. You might be going out, and everyone's going to a party, so the energy's right up. Yep, and this is what the baseline is. I can see most of the crowd. They're all sitting there. They're all going out. They're all getting ready to party. Their energy's up. They're pumped. They're all kind of dressed in a way that suggests that they're going to be out having a good time. Maybe a couple of people might have had a bit of drinks, but the energy is up. And then when you're scanning the crowd, even though you've got a large number of people there, you can see the kind of people that are a little bit off, that aren't quite at that same similar baseline. That one person that's just sitting there, maybe in the background, just sitting, looking, scanning people, dressed a little differently, not dressed as if he's going out to have a good time, but just scanning people for whatever reason. Looks a little different. It's just a little bit off. Or you have the other person, everyone's having a good time and a good feel, and then you'll see other people, and they look, yeah, their energy levels up, but it's not a good time. They've got a bit of, you can see there's something different about them. Oh, they've got anger. They've got anger in their voices. Their voices are a bit more raised, and it's a bit more tense. It's a bit more terse when they're talking to each other. And they're saying, dropping F bombs area, but it's not like an Aussie way of, F and whatever they want to drop all the time, and it's a good natured kind of, swearing, if you can have that. But it's more like an angry swearing constantly going off. You think, oh, their baseline is right up there, and they're the kinds of people you got to look at. And this is what surprised me about the assassination attempt. You've got a large group of people, and everyone's on this similar, because they're all there for one reason. They're all there to see Donald Trump. But then, even with all the noise and all the energy that's going on, then you have this group that suddenly pipe up, and they're yelling out, "Hey, we've got a shooter. Hey, something else is happening." The baseline for that is suddenly raised for this group of people. And yet none of the Secret Service, none of the police, none of the law enforcement that were there seemed to have the energy. They seem to have the tenacity, or the up and go, to just say, well, okay, let's just take this seriously. Let's jump up. Even the law enforcement officer who climbed up the building and saw him, and then was faced apparently with a rifle, saw the rifle, comes down, and there was still apparently no sense of urgency, no calling and saying, hey, what's going on? Look, we got a possible shooter up on the roof. That sense of urgency had all dropped, even though, like I said, the energy, the baseline for this rally would be a certain point. Then you've got this crowd, and you can see, wow, the baseline's really raised up here. Everyone's kind of freaking out in one area for over a minute. You can see, if you the people who are scanning the area would be saying, oh, something's different's happening. There's something wrong in the area, but no one has taken the time. There's no sense of urgency to say, this is wrong. We need to fix this. We need to go and check this out. And there was way too much time given for this chap to fire. And then you've only got, like I said, 2.5 centimeters between. Well, it was absolute catastrophe for one person, but if it had have killed Trump, who knows where the United States of America would be? Would they be in a civil war right now? Would that be the spark? Would that be all that was needed to to, to light the fuse, to let everything blow? which makes me think, was that what the intent of it all was? It seems strange. Old mate was just killed. Well, it doesn't seem strange he was killed, but it's very convenient that he's killed, and then they can't find out, what the purpose of what his intent was, what the reasoning behind it all was. The whole thing seems very strange. But yeah, the things that stood out to me was, I thought, yeah, okay, you've got these two men. One man that, it seems, if these reports are right, he gave his life up. He would rather jump in front of the bullet and take the bullet and die rather than the possibility of someone in his family dying. And then you've got Donald J. Trump, who's like, he gets shot. He realizes something's going on. Okay, I've been hit in the ear. But he's still saying, we're going to fight. We're going to fight. I'm determined. We are going to fight. And I just thought, well, these are strong men. These are strong men. These are the kind of men that help make a country, that really help sustain a country. Strong men. So that's really all I want to say. I don't think got anything else I can say can add to the conversation. But I would say, when you're out and about, okay, when you're out with your family, men, scan the area. Like I said, you don't have to tell my kids, you don't have to be a freak about it. You don't have to be all nervous and jittery, but you got to scan the area. You've got to be aware of your surroundings, aware of the people who are around you, and just make a mental note of it. Have a bit of a game, try and check out, okay, so this is, if I'm in a large crowd, oh yeah, everyone seems like they're dressed in a way that they're going out to a party or going to do, or whether they're going to work, and just try and look, okay, so who are the people that look different? Who are the people that look like they're, they don't have the same intent as all the other people? Just to help yourself get a bit more aware of what other dangers are possibly around. It's not to be scared, but just to help protect you, to help protect your family, which is the most important thing. But yeah, I thank God that Trump wasn't shot, wasn't killed, because I think that just would have been too much. And I hope too much for America to bear. And I do hope that this is a wake-up call, the wake-up call that was needed for all those Christians that have just been sitting on the sidelines, not talking, too scared to talk about politics, and all those other people who were just forgotten about God to sit up and go, wow, maybe this was divine providence. Maybe God is real. My name is Jay Fallon, and this is Slippery Slope. Thanks for listening.
And say it isn't real, and please don't go away. Just give me one more day. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. We could start again. We could start again. We could start again.